Hi everybody, this is Bob Ichino along with Mike Arnold from Path Trading Partners. It is May 1st. This is an afternoon Path Chat covering the futures markets. Mike's going to cover everything, including this ridiculously low VIX that you see right here. Some interesting things happened today, as they always do. The Trump administration, well, Donald Trump specifically, told Bloomberg that he is considering a reboot or a redo of the Glass-Steagall Act to break up the big banks. The White House itself, the administration, put out a statement shortly afterwards saying that that is nowhere near being something they're going to do in the near future. So essentially, he was just talking again, not necessarily giving any details on something. And in my opinion, it's never going to happen. Not when you have so many Goldman Sachs people in the administration. That's not a political judgment. It's just the way I think that will, if it's even being considered, it will go way toward the back of the line. Economic data, everything U.S. and Canada based matched or missed in the economic data today. Now let's start with what matched. U.S. personal consumption expenditure month over month and year over year hit the exact forecast. Down 0.1% on month over month expenditures in the core and up 1.6% on the year over year. Those were as expected. Everything else missed. Personal income, personal spending, real personal spending in the U.S. Canadian market manufacturing PMI missed. ISM manufacturing in the U.S. and ISM prices paid for the U.S. as well as construction spending all came in lower than expected. And the equity markets essentially were sideways most of the day. Looking at copper, there's talk of a strike at Indonesia's Grasport mine. Now, this is Freeport-McMoRan's mine. Freeport-McMoRan was the company struggling with the government of Indonesia to get their export license to or export the copper that they've been pulling out of the Grasport mine. Now, they finally got their export situation straight, and the workers there are considering striking. Crude oil was up over 2%. If that were to actually happen, you could consider Freeport-McMoRan thinking about either selling or even abandoning that mine. It's not a giant mine, but I think in a commodity where the supply disruptions are normal, you can see these kinds of moves when you get this kind of news. Crude oil, OPEC has failed. There's some data out pointing to increased imports by China from Saudi Arabia. Now you look at the reports of the OPEC compliance, you look at the data and you see that Saudi Arabia is expected to ship 8.2 million barrels in April, up from 7.94 million barrels in March and 7.73 million barrels in February and 7.83 million barrels in January. How is this production cuts if they're shipping more to one of their largest clients? It's just not, it doesn't make sense. So people are starting to question not only whether these cuts have worked, which you can see by price they haven't, but whether the talk of compliance is actually real or not. In the meantime, let me turn it over to Mike. Mike's going to cover everything, so he'll show you what's been happening price action-wise, and I will talk to you guys at the end of Mike's little tenure. Mike, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. So on our VIX watch, low of 990 today, closed just above 10, 11. To put how low this is into perspective, I'm going to go out to a 15-year weekly chart. You can see we're down over here. Last time we were down in these ranges were end of 2006, beginning of 2007. We have not seen this low a VIX reading. So I think some caution is in order. The markets will keep going until they don't, but this is getting very, very complacent. So just be advised that. Not saying that any tops in or anything else, or that the market's going to crash or, reverse. It can keep going, it can stay, but there's very little fear in the market. This is a very, very complacent market. Transports continue to pull back today, still in the Gann rotation zone. What we are going to be watching for is if we get above this 91.36 level, then we will be watching for a retest of the 9200 level, 92.20 level, and then possibly up to the 93.20 level. On a continued move lower below today's lows, next area of support is 90.40, followed by about 90.20, then the 9,000 level below that. On an even bigger down move, it could find some support at 89.80. Let's take a look at the Dow Industrials. Came back, found support right at a 25% GAN level, right around 28.96. If that is violated tomorrow, 28.56 is the next level below that. Then we'll be watching for about 28.11 to 2800, and then finally possibly down to 27.65. On a move back up, resistance is going to be right around this 20,980. Then once that's violated, we can watch for a potential return to the 21,070 level. And then if that's exceeded, a move up to the 21,153. Let's take a look at the S&P. S&P, let me sort of zoom in a bit. Held again, 25% key GAN level, very key support. We got the rising 8 on a continued up move tomorrow. Minor resistance around today's highs, 2390. Then we could see a test of the 2400 level, the 2394 to 2400 level. If that is broken, watch for a retest of about the 2401, then the 2403. Those are going to be key levels on the upside. On the downside, this 2377 level, very key. If that's broken, you could see it test the 2375 level. And then if that's broken, not much support until 2368. And then 2366 at 68. On a really big sell-off, we'd be looking at 2363. Finally, over to the Nasdaq, which we saw continued its move higher today. Pretty much closing on our projected GAN level. 5630 was our GAN level. The close today was 5637, so slightly higher than that. On a continued up move tomorrow, next level is 5661, higher. And then we'll have to do some more levels, but that's on our next move higher. On a pullback tomorrow, 5600 is going to be very, very key support. If that's broken, 5581, 5567, and then 5543 on the downside. Switching over to crude. Crude sold off today, found some support right around this 48.70 level we've talked about a number of times. On a continued move lower, 48.43 to 50 going to be some support, and then a retest of the most recent swing low right around this 48.20. And if that's broken, end of the clear path move, 47.85 is the next target. On a rally back up, we have some minor resistance right around this 49.25 area. Then you could be looking for the 49.50 to 54 area. We have a declining 8 coming in and a GAN cluster. Then if that's broken, next major level isn't till this 50.20 to 50.30 area. Switching over to copper. Had a pretty big move up today. Finished up about 1.96%, but at one point it was much higher than that, closer to 3% move to the upside. Pretty much closing on our GAN cluster. So, on a continued up move tomorrow, this $2.6805 is going to be key, followed by $2.6948, followed by $2.6990. Then if we get through that, we have a defining point. Let me give you the exact number on that. 271.70. On a pullback, 263.55 is going to be key. Then very key support will be 261.70. If that is broken, next level is the 259.70. Let's switch over to gold. Gold sold off, pretty much closed at the 200 and our GAN cluster right around this 1256, 1257 level we've talked about. On a further decline tomorrow, 1253 to 4 is going to be key. Then 1252. If it breaks at 1252, we could see a pretty quick decline to 1246 to 1247. And then eventually, if that's broken, we'll be watching for support around the 1240. On a rally up, we could easily retest our significant level 1265.60, which is now, we broke below it, so that's going to be pretty good resistance. If it does break through that, next level resistance up is 1269.80 to 1270, then 1271.70 to 72. If we do rally beyond that, we're looking at 1278. Finally, over to silver. Also a very big down move, completing the move to the end of the clear path and the prior lows right around the 1679 to 82 key support area. If we head lower tomorrow, next levels down are about 1662, followed by 1651, followed by 1642. On a rally back up, 1705 first level resistance, 1716 next level, followed by about 1728. That's all we have for you. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next Path Chat. Cheers, everyone.